Fort Logan was a military installation located 8 miles southwest of Denver, Colorado. It was established in October 1887 when the first soldiers camped on the land, and lasted until 1946, when it was closed following the end of World War II. After the fort closed, the site was used as a mental health center and part of the land was set aside for the Fort Logan National Cemetery. History. Toward the end of the 19th century, conflicts between Native Americans and expanding American interests were becoming less common. The United States Army began looking to cut costs by closing isolated frontier forts and start using the railroads to transport troops and supplies. In 1886, prominent Denver citizens, looking to boost the local economy, raised money and donated land to bring an army fort to the area. In October 1887, the first soldiers arrived from posts in Kansas and camped in 26 tents on the site that was at the time simply called the camp near the city of Denver. The camp was a treeless plateau located about 8 miles southwest of the city. Unofficially, the local citizens began to refer to it as Fort Sheridan, after General Philip Sheridan, who had selected the site. Sheridan preferred having his name associated with a fort north of Chicago, and on the 5th of April 1889, had the camp designated Fort Logan, after John Alexander Logan. This new urban-type fort began construction quickly, though the final buildings were not completed until 1897. The fort had a parade ground and quarters, including the 1888 building for field officers' quarters by Frank J. Goddard, which still stands today and was restored in 2009. As infantry barracks were completed, the 7th Infantry left Fort Laramie, Wyoming, and made Fort Logan the permanent home. In 1894, the 1st Cavalry units were posted to Fort Logan and remained until 1904. Troops from Fort Logan participated in military actions right from the start. In December 1890, troops were deployed to South Dakota to intercept Sioux tribal bands. In 1894, troops were called in to quell civil strife resulting from Governor Davis Hanson Waite's siege of City Hall. Later in the year, they were deployed south during the Pullman strike. Units from Fort Logan also participated in the 1898 Spanish-American War. In 1908, the site added 340 acres, bringing the total to 940 acres. In 1909, the fort was made a recruit depot and continued in that role until 1922. In 1927, an engineering unit occupied Fort Logan and made major updates to the site during the Great Depression. On the 1st of March 1941, the Army Air Corps moved an Army Air Forces clerical school to Fort Logan from Lowry Army Airfield. Thus, the installation came under the control of Western Technical Training Command. In 1942, the Administrative Inspector School was opened, which trained air inspectors. In April 1944, Fort Logan was transferred from the Western Technical Training Command to the AAF Air Service Command for training injured soldiers in civilian trades. In addition, the fort was briefly used as a prisoner of war camp in 1943 and 1944. After the war, the fort was declared surplus and negotiating over what to do with the land commenced. Some land was sold, 75 acres were set aside for the Fort Logan National Cemetery, and the rest was donated to the state of Colorado. The state used the site as a mental health center when the first patients were admitted in 1961. In 1991, the center was renamed to the Colorado Mental Health Institute at Fort Logan. People from 1901–1902, General Arthur MacArthur, father of Douglas MacArthur, was commandant of the fort. Dwight D. Eisenhower, as a major, was a recruiting officer at Fort Logan from 1924–1925.